Okay, we're here a lot quicker than I expected. Ooh, I was gonna wait until like episode, what, like 10 and 11, maybe 12 also came out. But, I have a lot to talk about already. The new episodes just came out. As of now, the only episodes that are out are 1 through 9. I just watched the new batch, which is 7 through 9. I got a lot to talk about. Before we get into that, hello, it's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. Not new around here, what is up, home scale of biscuit? Welcome to my breakdown, my recap, my opiniones about Love is Blind Season 7. As you guys know, I come on here, or if you don't know, I come on here, I give my opinions, I say what I feel what I say, and we do a little kiki together where we talk about how much I feel in every direction about Love is Blind. And each season, it feels like I get more and more disappointed in ways that I never see coming. This is gonna be one reunion, dude. There's a lot to unpack. If you didn't see my first video, I did one on 1 through 6. I will link that down below. It's also going to be in the playlist where I talk about the ultimatum and Love is Blind. So feel free to watch that first to get my initial reaction to cast, how I felt the first few episodes, who was I rooting for, if I was rooting for anybody. I've learned to not really root for anybody in this show, but I can't help myself because sometimes I do it anyway. At the end of my last episode, though, I talked about how there has been some word on the street about our boy Tyler. And at the time, there wasn't enough information known for me to feel strongly in one direction or another. But being that men on Love is Blind tend to disappoint you off camera, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, now more information has come out, still all alleged. And yeah, he's a terrible person. And actually in ways that I didn't see coming. So I'm kind of happy I waited because I was like, I feel like there's more information I'm missing. There was a lot of information missing. So we'll talk about that at the end of this video because that fits in with the later episode. Yeah, sit back, relax, get a snack, and sit through this ad real quick. Thank you.
Now, though no one on Love is Blind seems to have common sense, some of them do indeed have a little fashion sense, which got me thinking about how I could use today's sponsor ThredUp to show my own style and creativity for less, if you will. If you don't know what ThredUp is, it's the online thrifting store that takes everything out of thrifting that sucks and only leaves the things that are good, like finding things for cheaper prices, finding things that are unique, possibly discontinued, and also enjoy just the benefit of buying something secondhand so that it doesn't fall into a landfill. They also have new functions like image search, where you can just upload a photo and you can find other clothes that might fit your inspiration, or style chat, where you can type in ideas to match pieces to an aesthetic or style. Like for instance, Hannah, she gets on my nerves, but I did like her clothes. So I was like, oh, where are you getting these boots from? Where are you finding this silk like shirt type situation? I was like, oh, that's very cute. What's going on there? Now you can see if they have something similar. Personally, as a tall plus size girly, I really like ThredUp because it allows you to take away the annoying parts of thrifting, like searching and trying to find things that fit you, trying to find things that are your style, trying to find things that don't smell like old closet. And it's a lot of work and it's very stressful and it takes the fun out of what should be this fun like treasure hunting experience. But if you go on ThredUp, you're able to organize by a brand, by your size, by your style, by price. It is fall time. I love to layer this time of year. Find some things that are thin that you can put under or over another article of clothing. Something very pretty and romantic about buying, say, a sheer dress and then putting a sweater over it, or buying like a slip dress and wearing like really thick stockings with it and a big coat to keep you warm, but also like cute. Also, really cool if we're talking about how to streamline the search process of finding something that you like. So if you would like to check out ThredUp, feel free to click on the link down below and use code Kennie for 45% off plus free shipping on your first order. Big thanks to ThredUp for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on to the debauchery.
Okay, so episode 7, right? We are still on the vacation for the couples that have just gotten together. You know, they do like a pre-wedding honeymoon type thing, which is where they first have face-to-face interactions with their partners. And this is where I start to notice that there's certain couples that I just feel like straight up don't like each other. I don't think Hannah likes Nick. It feels like she's always looking for reasons to nitpick about what he's not doing or what he isn't and what she wished he would be. And then Monica, kind of same. same. I don't have an opinion one way or another about Nick, but I don't like Steven, so I don't care that much, even though she was kind of rude to him last time. But as we will see, there's a lot to unpack with Steven and Monica anyway. So we'll get to that in a bit. Another couple that we should check on is Alex and Tim, because the last time we saw them, they were on the other side of an argument that we didn't see on camera, but he was thinking about leaving the experience entirely. So it must have been a big blow up. But they seem to have come back together. They ride ATVs and they decide they're going to work it out and they're going to keep going forth in their relationship. I will say, at least on camera, we don't see any more like headbutting between them, and we didn't see their original argument either. So I really don't know how to feel about this couple. I will say that over the course of these next few episodes, Tim grows on me, and I didn't like him the first few episodes. I found him very, I don't know, he just kind of came off very, not bro-y. He kind of had this like masculinity that read like alpha male podcast a little bit, but I didn't have anything strong to hone in on. And I think his better qualities are starting to overshadow any thoughts I had around that. Cause again, I didn't have anything substantial. It was just a vibe, but now his vibe is better to me now.
Future Kennie, I was not wrong. We just don't talk about it in this episode, but as of filming this future thing, yeah, he sucks ass.
And I don't feel anything about Alex. I feel nothing about her. So I guess that's better than the negativity I feel for other castmates. So it's fine. So speaking of negativity I feel, let's talk about Tyler and Ashley. Because if you recall last time we were here, I was holding my opinions because I didn't know what Ashley knew, first of all. I didn't know if he had told her and we just hadn't seen it on camera. I didn't know if he had said anything about the children, if he had outright lied about the children. There was a lot of things that we didn't know. But we have a scene in which they are on camera talking about kids, what they want, how many kids they want. They talk about like traditions they had as children. He says to her that the Christmas prior to this was recorded in 2023. So in 2022 Christmas, he just spent it alone. And she said that she kind of spent it on her own and they want to like do things with their kids. Right? So one would think if you're going to bring up these kids, one, you should have did it in the pod. So it's creepy and weird that you haven't done it yet. But the fact that they're having this conversation and there's no mention of spending time with your donor kids, if that's all they are, this mother is lying to her face. And that's when I knew, oh, he a bitch. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's not shocking. It's shocking that they're 3 kids. That is shocking. But it's not shocking that he's a lying bitch, because there's always at least one. This season, we have a few. Who? Am I getting too ahead of myself? Well, I will talk about this right now, because I will go more into the Tyler thing later. But this is particularly egregious. As we have seen, if you're keeping up with the tea on the internet, there's photos of him, the Christmas that he spent alone, so whatever, with his kids at his mama house that you spent by yourself and lonely, and you were there with at least one of your kids. And you look in this nice lady in her face like, yeah, you know, I want us to have kids, you know, I just want to be a good blah, 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 blah. And you don't say boo about them 3 kids, even if you aren't like a very active part of their lives, which he is, by the way. We have evidence of that now. Like, it's not like he just shows up on holidays. He was an active participant in these kids' lives. That's your kids. You're not just a donor and they take care of the kids and maybe you are an uncle that pops in here or there. No, he was an active part of them little lives. Those are your kids. You have 3 kids. Again, we'll get more on what has come out since then. But this is all I needed. Before I even knew that stuff, I was like, so you lied to her face. You a nasty bitch. You a dirty bitch. You a dangerous bitch. Look you straight in that nice lady's eyes. Pray with her holding hands like, God, I hope they would. Yeah, shut the fuck up. I hate light skin. I'm saying. Drake looking ass bitch. And I already thought that he kind of looked like Drake, and it explains it. You hiding kids. Who did it first? This just makes you want to go up to your local light skin and just cuss him out. And I'm like, I'm gonna call my right now and yell at him. You and all your other light brights, even though I'm arguably light skinned. I guess it depends on who you talk to, what part of the country. But I'm brown. I'm brown skinned. So all your other high yellow ass, you tell your coalition to get it together. Monica and Steven. Okay, like I said, I don't love Steven, but I don't like Monica either. And one of the situations in which we find out about one of the things that I don't like about Monica is she's really big on flowers. And I don't have a problem with that. People have their things. They like flowers. I like flowers. I think they're nice. But the conversation they have in regards to flowers is that in the pods, he said he would buy her flowers, right? And she's like, I'm trying to match what you said you would do in the pods and what you would do in real life. And you haven't gotten me any flowers yet. fine. Maybe I shouldn't use this as the example where I don't like her, because there's other, no, she's annoying. Because I was going to say, I understand, like, superficially why this is a thing you would want to do. But at this point, if you're harping about him getting you flowers, he's not getting you flowers because he was thinking of you and he loves you so much and he knows that you like him, so he goes and gets you flowers. He's doing it because you want him to go do a chore, right? You're asking him to get a thing at the store, milk, eggs, and some flowers, right? So the thing that you're trying to find out through the course of him performing this action is not happening. So now you're just going on and on and on about how you want flowers, which is fine. It's just not gonna do what I think you're trying to make the act of buying flowers do. And instead of being more concerned about some of his behaviors that is really concerning, like his weird, we'll get on this. There's one thing to be sexual, all right? I have no problems with being sexual. Let your freak flag fly. But sometimes he be saying shit that make you go, ew, what? Ugh. What's going on? And again, the kind of a cheater and the mutt thing, like there's a lot of things that the centrists think, like, oh, this is concerning. And for some reason, we're here on flowers. And it comes up a lot. Several scenes. She's like, flowers. I want flowers. I want flowers. Give me flowers. And if you gotta ask him 12 times to get you flowers, A, he didn't want to give you flowers. And if you think flowers is an act that shows how much he loves you, then he don't love you. It's easier said than done, I know. But with that said, she does get rightfully annoyed during this conversation because it bleeds into how he doesn't want to let her down, right? Which is another reason why he'll buy the flowers, but not because he loves her per se. You know what I mean? We're not doing what we're trying to do. But he starts getting a little emotional and he starts talking about like how this is such a big decision, this marriage thing. And, you know, he uses the words second thoughts. And she gets annoyed, as she should, because she's like, we're on Love is Blind. I would hope before you got on Love is Blind, you had dealt with all that. Do I want to get married? Do I not want to get married? I thought you would have dealt with all that by now because I'm ready to get married. I know I'm ready to get married. And the fact that you're over here like, I don't want to, you know, that's such a big commitment. Yes, you're on Love is Blind, where the purpose of the show is to get married. What the f***? Like, what the hell? And he started like wailing up a little bit because he's put on the spot, but it's like, yes. I mean, I'm sorry you crying, but yes. The hell? Okay. Okay, they have another couples get together. And that energy that they have, Steven and Monica being off, continues into this. And at some point, I'm just like, this is painful. Y'all don't like each other. She don't like you as a person. But I think she wants to get married so bad that she's going to ignore that and just deal with this person who fundamentally pisses you off. Like everything he does is pissing her off. He hasn't bought the flowers yet. He talked too much. She wanted him to come with her to look at fireworks with her at the event. And he was in a conversation with Garrett and it was apparently very emotional. We didn't see it, or intense, I should say. We don't see the conversation, but he's like, okay, I'll get there. And he couldn't pull away quickly enough because it was an intense conversation. And when she comes back, she's like, oh, it was so romantic. The fireworks that you didn't come to see. And he's like, I'm sorry. And then you could just tell she don't like everything he does pisses her off. And she says as much to her friend. She's like, everything he does is just pissing me off. And I was like, cause you don't like that. Free both of y'all from this. He has a lot of self-hatred. He feels like he gonna let you down. And he already has. Free both of you. Oh my God. And then, if that's not bad enough, when he comes over to apologize to her about like telling her the circumstances, like he was talking to Garrett and he was trying to like be there for him or whatever, and he needed to get it out or blah, 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 blah. I don't know how we get here because editing is weird, but also so is Steven. Somehow we get on this conversation about like, with all this spotlight on you, there's a lot of homewreckers out there and they're going to be like in your DMs being like, I want to suck your dick. And like, and I'm like, what the what are you talking about? He's like, they be wanting to suck your dick. And like, are you going to be able to deal with that pressure? And I'm like, are you talking about Garrett? Are you talking about you? Why are we talking about this? What is this? What is happening? And then Monica's like, what? How did we get here? How did we get here? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, I'll bring it back around. You're going to have new temptations. And it's just very weird. He's a weird dude. He's a very weird dude. But that's the vacation. That's Cabo. And then after that, everybody goes back to DC. This is when they're finally in the real world and you're going to get your phones back and you're going to live together. You'll have your work schedules. You're combining lives. You're taking care of each other's pets if you got pets. You know, that whole thing, right? You meet family and friends and stuff. Speaking of which, Taylor meets Garrett's family and that goes very cool. Can I just say, I really like Taylor and Garrett. I've really warmed up to them as a couple. They're both sciencey, nerdy, kind of reserved people, but they seem to really like each other, and I appreciate that. Marissa and Ramses, I haven't talked about them much yet, but there's a lot to talk about with their relationship in the next few episodes. And I think that's partially why I was like, let me just make a video, because I have a lot to say. And several conversations that they end up having, and just several conversations about their relationship in general, and this like combining of people who seemingly have somewhat different values. Hear me out. They seem to have a series of very serious conversations, one after another. Another situation where I was like, why didn't we talk about this more in the pods? Maybe they did. We didn't see it though. And it seems like we're going into new territory about these things. They talk about religion, and he says that he grew up very Christian and he doesn't really align with that anymore. And she said she grew up a Mormon, which she doesn't really align with either. But that explains a lot. That explains so much of what I'm feeling from her. A lot of this like conflict and confusion around identity, about her blackness, about where she fits in to appease people around her. She says that she has a lot of hangups about religion because of her time in the Mormon church, because, you know, God is explicitly white in her upbringing, and it's hard to not internalize that as a Black woman. But she's also in conflict with it because, quote, some of the nicest people she's ever met were in the Mormon church. And I'm like, how nice can they be? I don't know. If the basis of your understanding is that my people are like God's forgotten or whatever, as she kind of explains her, like, she doesn't go explicitly into that, but she does say explicitly, like, I was taught that God is explicitly white. So I'm like, how am I supposed to make sense of that? I'm like, okay, like, sure, maybe they didn't call you a slur, but that's not all that someone can call you that's indicative of that type of violence, I guess. But I do get the sense that she has a lot of conflict around a lot of aspects of her identity. I would definitely say in the last year or two, I would guess, she has had some epiphanies about her as a Black person, her as a Black Mormon, her as an ex-Navy person. She says that she realized that the patriarchy was bad when she saw Barbie.
Barbie like made me realize I'm not accepting any man who's for the patriarchy.
So this is very new. These are very new thoughts for her. And I think she's struggling to make sense and make amends with her identity and also being a part of these structures, which I empathize with, you know, as we learn more about, for instance, imperial US power, as we'll get into, that really shakes you if you participated in the military and you were just trying to get some money for college. You know what I mean? With Ramses, who was born in Venezuela, the way that he's lived life has been on like the opposite side of US imperialism. So he's seen that other side. These aren't just like, you know, missiles floating and going nowhere. They hit people, they kill people, they bomb their houses. Like, you're not just having a fun time hoing on the friendly seas, you killing people in some way or another, whether a plane or something. And so when she's kind of struggling with her identity and making sense of that, like that she was an active part of the military, it's hard to hear that. And she's like, I don't know if I'd be able to look in the face of someone whose house was bombed by the US military, like, oh, I still support the troops. But she definitely does have a complicated support for soldiers, the military. She's very proud of her service. Whereas again, he's been on the other side of that imperialism, and to hear your partner say, I'm really proud of the things that I did to destabilize people like you, that's very hard to hear. And when he pushes on that, like, they join the military voluntarily. You joined the military. What do you think being a soldier is? She's like, I'm feeling very judged right now. And I can understand as a singular person feeling very judged, but also like, I don't know. I think to finish that conversation with, I'm proud of my service, I'm proud of what I've done, and I don't know if I can be with you if you are ashamed of my service. I mean, ain't nobody telling you you have to feel ashamed about nothing, but if I were Ramses, that would probably be the conversation that would make me have a lot of second thoughts. I think if it is any conversation, is we're talking about marginalized people. I mean, in this context, they're both Black, but there's a certain privilege that perhaps she has as a person born in the United States States versus someone that had to immigrate in. He's talking about what it feels like to be on the other side of America. And she cannot wrap her head around that because she has the privilege of being an American in this context, in this conversation we're having, right? I just think y'all are fundamentally at odds because as much as he has whatever politics he has and viewpoints that he has, I don't know if she's in the same space as you. I feel like she has a lot of things that she's working through, and I personally wouldn't feel comfortable leaving that up to chance whether or not you get to the place where you are on the same page as me as something as serious as this. Like, you're on very different parts of this journey. But I don't know if she would ever reach the space where if I were Ramses, would feel comfortable. I don't know. She says something along the lines of like, I don't think you would have liked me 2 years ago, because I don't think she had reached many of these epiphanies by then. She was also in the military for a very long time. And he was like, if you were still in the military, we wouldn't have worked out. It wouldn't have worked. And I understand because like you two have very different views on things. But my question is, Ramses, you knew she had a history in the military in the pods. Did you ask how she felt about the troops in the pods? I'm so tired of y'all just kiki cacaing in the pod. The whole point, what do y'all talk about? Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm too serious. Like, I don't want to nobody that don't believe in a woman's right to choose. I don't know. You let to believe we can agree to disagree about your coochie? No. No, we're not doing this. Do we agree or disagree about structuralized racism? No, we're not gonna work out, bitch. What? I don't understand. I don't get it, but okay. Y'all got this far. You knew she was in the military. That would have been the conversation. Like, so question, how do you feel about the military? How do you feel about your time in the military? To be quite frank with you, I feel very strongly because I'm from Venezuela. Blah, blah, blah. That's when you have the conversation. Why are we having it out of the pods? God, episode 8. Hannah comes to Nick's house and he's still staying with his parents. In this economy, girl, I don't judge nobody. He said he was on the road all the time when he was playing football. Why would I buy a house that I got to pay for or an apartment that I got to pay for and I'm never there? I get it. But now it's a hassle when you get married and have kids and shit. You got to figure out who's going to go where. With that said, the entire time he's like showing her little stuff around the house. I get the sense that she don't like that motherfucker. Like, again, why are we here? Back to Ramses and Marissa. Did I call her Maria? I keep wanting to call her that. I don't know why. He meets her friends, many of which are from the military. And this conversation keeps going. And they're like, what? You don't like American imperialism? A lot of people that we know around here are like, support our troops and stuff. And they're like shocked that he's like, if she went back to the military, that would end our marriage. Like, our values are fundamentally going in different directions if that's the case. And yeah, I think that's fine. But they're like surprised Pikachu, like, wow, really? It's that serious? Yes. If your house got bombed and somebody was like, I still support the people that bomb your house. I mean, what? Why is it so weird? Why is it so abstract for people? I don't know why that is the case, but it is. Whatever. Okay. Y'all can be in these agree to disagree ass marriages and relationships if you want to, and then be surprised when that shit don't work. Again, I always go back to Roe v. Wade. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, all of a sudden, all these liberal girls with their conservative boyfriends that they agree to disagree with suddenly are like, yeah, I still don't believe you should have an abortion. Like, I think it's fine that your rights got taken away. And they're like, what? He really does feel that. Yes, bitch. Yes. Him. Light him on fire. Feminine rage. Anyway, Tim meets Alex's family. And that's when I started to actually like Tim a little bit more, because I thought it was very sweet. Like the way that he interacted, particularly with her father. When they got engaged in the pods, he read off a letter that he wanted to read to him when they met in person. And it was like how he's going to protect her and be a good husband and blah, blah, blah. And it was very cute. I got a little teary-eyed myself. I was like, okay, I liked him. All right. I like that. Back to Steven and Monica. They talk about sex, and particularly they may have not been having it for the last few days. They've only been out of vacation for like, 4 days? It's not been long at all. At most a week. Because they've only known each other like a week out of the pods. So they start talking about sex, and she's like, we've had great sex, but admittedly, after our conversation about you getting second thoughts and everything, I don't really feel like busting it open, right? And he's like, yeah, I understand that. And then he starts talking about his sex drive, right? Which is normal for engaged people or people in relationships, married, whatever, to talk about. But the way he says, I'm a man. If the wind blows, I come in my pants. And I'm sitting there like, I don't think that's a man thing, dude. I don't think that's a general man thing. I think that's you. Maybe teenage boys you know, new to puberty and stuff, but you're 32. Like, what in the lonely island? Oh, the wind blew a certain way, and I'm like, oh. I saw somebody put on some socks, and I'm like, oh. I saw a bird lay an egg, and I'm like, oh. Like, what do you mean? Like, calm down. And then he goes on this long, winding, confusing conversation about he's into anything, you know, and he just keep talking because, again, he's a chatterbox. He started talking about pegging and all the things you can put your dick into, including but not limited to pineapples, a bowl of mac and cheese. And I'm like, ugh, this is a deviant. Go somewhere. You not well. Okay. Hannah still hates Nick, but now she has a new reason to hate him, and it's because she's a neat freak. I don't remember if I brought this up in the original video. I know I brought it up in filming, but I don't remember if it accidentally got edited out. But she quit her job to be on Love is Blind. She wanted to take time off to do Love is Blind, and they said they wouldn't let her at her job, so she quit it. So she's at home cleaning all day. A house that is already clean, mind you. Like, she's like, this place is disgusting. And then he walks in from work, and she's like, can you take out the trash? And he's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take out the trash now. And then she like is upset that she had to tell him to take out the trash. But I was like, you were already cleaning. You were already cleaning. Why didn't you? Okay. And also he did it. Like, I'm confused. I don't understand. And then she goes into a very long, it ends up becoming this like board meeting where she's like delegating a lot to him. It put a bad taste in my mouth. What happened to like us living together and we're like working together? There's one thing to delegate in the sense of like, hey, just so we don't have any like headbutting, like maybe your chore is this and my chore is that. That's not what I'm talking about. Maybe I was getting triggered because it felt like micromanaging. And I fucking hate when people micromanage me. It pisses me off. I will do it. Damn, I don't need you breathing down. I need you to clean the kitchen. I said I'm gonna clean the kitchen. That means now I don't want to do it because you pissed me off about when are you gonna clean I told you I would do it. Got my face. She's like, how often do you vacuum? And he was like, maybe once a week. And she's like, once every week? I do it every day, Nick. That's a lot. And he's like, is it because of your dog? Because maybe she sheds? And she's like, no, she doesn't even shed. I just do it every day. I vacuum every day. I sweep every day. I do a deep clean every week. And I was like, oh, you neat bitches are a lot. And then this turns into like, what are you going to do with your car insurance? What are you going to do with your phone bill? Where are we going to move? Do you have stocks? And it turns into just like a parade. And I'm like, hello? I just know if I came home from work and then I just got ... I'm like, hey, can I go wash my ass first? Do we like calm down? It feels like grilling instead of collaborating. And I hate that. I hate it. I hate that shit. Don't micromanage me. I'm a grown woman. In his case, I'm a grown man. Sure, there's certain things that I haven't done as I was living at home, but I'm not your maid. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was your employee instead of your partner, and I hate that shit. Tyler meets Ashley's father, and honestly, it goes in one ear and out the other because I know a liar. So he do say something like, I'm not gonna cheat on her. I'm not gonna lie to her. Me when I lie. You lying bitch. Anyway, and you talking about how many kids you want when you already have them. You have 3. God. Ooh. Speaking of lying ass, the big drop of this episode, Steven got caught texting other bitches or DMing other bitches. I don't remember, but he was talking to another bitch about how he want to do some nasty kinky shit, fetish shit, and Monica finds out. And camera crew come in and they rush in. They come in like special ops, like carry the camera. We gotta follow them. Taylor, Asian girl, she comes over and comforts her about it. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this. So apparently what Steven did was told Monica that he has to go to a sleep test. And a lot of people were asking questions about that. I understood it as like when you go to the doctor and sometimes they'll do like sleep apnea tests. Is that what he's talking about? Where they kind of monitor how you're breathing and stuff like that? That's a thing, right? I know I'm not fully making that up. Am I? That's what I thought it was, at least. And then he says that he got drunk before the sleep test. He got drunk before the sleep test, and then he texted a girl and yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting there like, wait, 1, why were you drunk in a sleep test? Let's start there. 2, you think we stupid. I was offended for Monica. He think you dumb, girl. He think you dumb as hell. Luckily, Monica's like, shut the up. You're disgusting. And I saw it. You're lying to my face again. He's like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. He lied about some semantic thing. I don't remember, or like logistic thing. And she's like, whatever. And I'm like, y'all didn't have sex for what? A week? Maybe 4 days? He's so pent up that he got to text fetish shit to another woman, you have a problem. Like, all jokes aside, I think he has a sex issue, like a compulsion issue, maybe an addiction. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you've talked about that with your therapist, if you've been honest with yourself with your therapist, but this is the second time that we know of that a woman has caught you talking to another person and getting caught. And the fact that you were willing to get caught while you knew you were getting filmed all the time is absolutely bonkers. You don't care about yourself. You and Tyler, dumbass. You think people ain't gonna find out that you... Anyway, stupid. Genuinely, go get help. Something's wrong. Like, when he started talking about dick sucking and like sticking his dick in macaroni and cheese, I was like, this man is not okay. It's one thing to be horny. You're grossing me out. I'm not the biggest prude. I'm really not. So I was like, ugh, this gross. What is happening? And then he says sorry, but most of his like conversation is him going like, woe is me, I shouldn't have came on the show, I don't deserve things. And I'm like, get the fuck out my face. Ugh. Send him to the moon, him and Tyler. He ain't there for his kids anyway. They ain't gonna miss him. Send his ass, let him go. The funniest part though about this interaction with Monica and Steven is that she's like, Venmo me the money you owe me for me taking care of you for the last few days because he wasn't working. And that was very funny. That was very, very funny. Hilarious. Exactly. Inconvenience fee that. Absolutely. Episode 9. Tyler, again, has the nerve on camera to talk about how he want to have 7 kids with Ashley. And she says, no. What the hell? Again, she don't know nothing about him having real kids yet, because he been lying to her. I think this has a breeding kink. I think he's very on the man with 1,000 kids type beat, but I don't think he want to do it in the sperm bank way. I think he just want to have a lot of baby mamas, or not a lot of baby mamas, but a lot of kids with a few baby mamas. I don't know. There's something there. A lot of do. I really need people to stop having kids for a bit. This is a side note. I need y'all to stop having kids, because a lot of people don't think of kids as like people. They don't think of them as like people that are going to grow up and have opinions and life experiences and traumas and hopes and dreams and everything. They think of them as just like, sweet, this thing that looks like me. That's cool to look at. Deuces though, because the moment it starts to cry, the moment it starts to require love and affection and attention, they don't want to do that shit. They don't want to do it. And I was like, I wasn't trying to take care of the kid. I just like the idea that there's another me running around, you narcissist. Weirdo. Weird. Anyway, somebody needs to smack the freckles off him. He just pissed me off. Nick pisses me and Hannah off by offering to help her with dinner, but he don't know how to boil spaghetti. That would piss me off. Like, truly, you could have just sat there. You in my kitchen. Like, you're just in the way at this point. Get out of my way. Then her brother comes over, and I will say he does hit it off with Nick too. They seem to get along, but the brother brings up that Hannah talked reckless to everybody. She kind of talked reckless to everybody, but she can't take it, because there's a point where during their interaction, Nick says something about, well, yeah, you got a lot of time when you unemployed. And that's some shit she would say to him, but she did not. She was like, wow, that's just mean. You always take it too far. Does he? Because you be saying mean shit all the time about how he's stupid, about how he don't do nothing right. I don't think it's a joke when you say it either. But okay. We see Tim's bachelor pad, which is really well decorated. I don't know why people like dino nuggets. This is a side note, but he like, yeah, my diet consists of a lot of dino nuggets. Ugh. Completely independent of his like, you're a grown man, why are you eating dino nuggets? It's not that. It's nasty. Dino nuggets are nasty, but I'm in a minority. I found out that a lot of people like dino nuggets. Anyway, but he won my heart, and he pissed me off too, because he has a portrait, an oil portrait of him and his dog, like an old English, like regal portrait. And I was mad because I had that idea already. I had that idea. Oh, I was mad. I was like, you took that idea from me. Damn. I'll still do it though. I had the idea first, I think. Probably not. There's probably a lot of people that have already done that, but I'm going to say this part, again, the awkward and uncomfortable situations with Ramses and Marissa. So we meet Marissa's mother. That woman is awful, like dead ass. She's really gross to her kids. She's honestly quite rude to Ramses too. She's like, y'all look like siblings. It's weird. I don't like the way you dress. I don't like your Jerry curl. She calls Marissa a bitch, like verbatim. She calls her a bitch.
But she is a bitch.
Really grills Ramses about whether or not he's going to try to take all her money when she becomes a lawyer. I don't know if I mentioned that. She's in law school now. Anytime he tries to like engage with her about marriage, because he's been married before. Again, I mentioned that in the first episode. She's like, well, you're explaining to what marriage is to me. I know. And I'm like, oh, he's just having to calm down. Like, what the She's like, I don't expect y'all to last forever because I don't believe marriages last forever. I don't think relationships last forever. Like each other for now, I guess. Get a prenup so he can't you over and take all your money because she's been over by too many men in her life, by her father, then her stepfather. And I was like, oh, okay, trauma. That's why you act like that, which I knew. But the way that she was like, whoo, like whoa, calm down. Ramses, for his credit, he handles that a lot better than I would, because I'd be like, hold up, I'm not your enemy. I just got here. I don't know nothing about all your trauma and shit. That's you yelling at me for. Nick meets Hannah's family, and they seem really nice. They do note that every time she talks about that sound like she don't like him. They were like, why are you nitpicking him so much? Calm down. Do you like him? And she's like, no, yeah, I love him. And they're like, calm down. Like, it seems like you're really harping on little shit. If you actually love him, let that shit go. Focus on the more important stuff, like fundamentals of your relationship. Garrett meets Taylor's friends, and they seem nice. I really liked this interaction. So she's from San Diego, by the way, Taylor, and they've been talking about this here or there. I don't know if I brought it up yet, but they've decided that he's going to move with her to San Diego. He's in Virginia right now, and that seems to be a lot. But her friends are like, you know, is that move too much of a sacrifice for you? Like, how does that feel for you? And he's, you know, explaining that. And that was really cool that they seem to be supportive and careful for her, you know, caring about her. They seem to really like Garrett. I like Taylor and I like Garrett. I prefer Taylor more than Garrett, but I do like them together. They seem really cool. Another intense conversation with Ramses and Marissa. Again, another situation where it's like, what do y'all talk about then? What have y'all talked about fundamentally that got us here? Because I feel like we keep running into issues that we should have discussed, maybe not in the pods, but definitely before y'all had sex the first time, which is they've not been using any contraception. And she's like, well, how do you feel about the timeline of having kids? Because we're being a little reckless right now. She's open to having kids sooner than later. Again, we should have this conversation already. He's not. He wants to wait some time. He wants them to have some time as, you know, a couple together. And she's like, then we have to figure out something. Like, we can't keep risking it like this if you don't want to have kids. Me personally, I'm cool with whatever happens, which is not how you should be going into having kids. Have them with intention, please. God. Got so mad I knocked the part out of my mic. Why do people act like kids just happen? They don't just happen. They happen as a result of and in a coochie while it's ovulating. Why do y'all act like it just bibbidi bobbidi boo, a kid happened? And between the two of them, I'm more frustrated with Ramses. Though I don't recommend that being the way you go about having a kid, she's accepted the consequences. Yeah, well, we doing the things that have kids. So yes, I'm open to having kids earlier than later, but he doesn't seem to be. Then why have y'all been f***ing? So then she starts talking about, you know, her issues with going on birth control. There are a lot of things that can go into birth control, messing with your mood, messing with your cycles, pain with your cycles. Some people suffer from depression, blood clots. A friend of mine had a pulmonary embolism when she got on hormonal birth control. So I understand apprehension of getting on particularly hormonal birth control. And then there's non-hormonal birth control, like the copper IUD, but that also has its own side effects. I have the copper IUD, not that y'all asked. I like it, but I have worse cramps and my periods are longer. Personally, I didn't want to go and not have a period because I want to catch you early. Gotta eat the fetus, I need to know. But, you know, that doesn't work for everybody. She has a lot of apprehensions on going to birth control. And he's like, I don't really like condoms. Well, we had an impasse. Guess who not having sex? First of all, as a side note, skin condoms. Not that I know. I've never had sex, but skin condoms. SKYN. But he's like bummed out at the concept that they would have to have protected sex. Yeah. You know, for a man who has all these like viewpoints that are pretty like progressive and blah, 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 you know, blah, blah. This seems to be his blind spot because it affects whether or not he can suck it up. Use a condom or don't have sex or do it in the butt. Doing the butt, sexy, sexy. Okay. Hannah meets Nick's parents and they're nice. They're dorks. It's really interesting talking to the parents because this really shows that the idea that everybody thought he was a big like ladies man isn't necessarily true because he's only dated 2 girls prior to this. And they're like, we're not used to seeing him with girls and blah, blah. And if he is a ladies man, his parents haven't met anybody really or heard about him dating anybody really, so we don't know him to have a lot of girls. He's just like maybe a smooth talker. And Hannah does well during this interaction. She comes off likable. She brings them gifts and stuff, so that, you know, that's fine. And the episode ends in an aftermath of another conversation that is taken off camera. where apparently Tyler has finally decided to tell Ashley about them 3 kids. Again, last time I talked about how I didn't know how much Ashley knew in regards to the kids. So now we learned she didn't know shit, because that's how we got this conversation, right? And again, we don't see the beginnings of this conversation. We just get the aftermath. Apparently she had left him after he had said that, and she needed to be alone and think and yada, yada, yada. And then they come back and have this conversation the next day, presumably. What you can get from context clues is that is still lying to her. Even during this, he is still lying, because he says that he was helping out a couple have kids, which is technically true. We'll get into the information that has come out now, but he was helping a couple have kids. He refers to them as sperm donor babies, which elicits a feeling of distance, right? Like, those aren't kids that I'm taking care of. Those are someone else's kids, right? She's like, we've had so many conversations about kids. Every day we're talking about how many kids we want to have, what we want to do with our kids, what we want our kids' childhood to look like, and yada, yada, yada. And you didn't say boo about this shit. Also, she's like, I think it's beautiful that you wanted to help a couple, but I'm uncomfortable with the fact that you hid that from me, which is very fair. And that's before we find out all the other ways he lying to her. Again, give me a second. No more there. Also, to refer to them as sperm babies is what I assume he refers to them as. Again, to bring that distance is so belittling to those kids. I'm just looking at that screen, and he start going into like, I feel bad that I lost your trust and I want to gain it back. Just give me a chance. I love you. No. And I'm like, bitch, dump him. He lied about the existence of 3 kids. Y'all talked every day about kids, and he lied to your mother face. Oh! And if it wasn't that big of a deal, I don't feel like there's something that you shouldn't have told her in the pods, which she said. She was like, I don't understand why I'm finding this out now. We're 2 weeks away from the wedding, when I should have known this in the pods if it was just like, yeah, I helped out these people that I'm cool with, and I know these people, and I helped them with their kids, which is still a little shaky, because usually people aren't too involved with the family. But I think, again, she understands it as that he's not a very active part of these kids' lives. Dump him still, sis. He lied to you. Ugh. That's the end of the episode. But now let's get on to the continuation of the tea and the evidence, alleged evidence, that I saw floating around in regards to Tyler and these kids. So, allegedly, this is the story in the words of the baby mama, the baby mama's ex-wife, the baby mama's mom, and a woman on TikTok that they were sending information to, allegedly. Everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but it would not surprise me. Some of these people are out there, so you can see their posts and whatnot. So this was the story as we understand it today. Apparently, Tyler was engaged to another woman at the time his first child was born. He also hid that child from that fiance, to the extent that him and said fiance went to the gender reveal of that baby, not knowing that he was the father of the child. They thought his friend was having a baby, and they're going to the gender reveal. Apparently, at this gender reveal party, everybody knew. So Tyler knew he was the father of the kid. The baby mama knew he was the father of the kid. And the baby mama's wife also knew that he was the father of the kid, but understood him to be the donator for the child. They all knew and did not tell his fiance. Eventually, she would find out about the kid being his a few months after the child was born and would dump him. Now, according to the baby mama's wife, who is now her ex-wife, allegedly, this is the ex-wife, again, grain of salt, alleged, Apparently, no one was supposed to know that Tyler was the father of this kid. It was supposed to be a secret, which is wild, because if you see them kids, they look just like him. He was not supposed to be the known biological father, and he wasn't supposed to be involved in the kid's life in any major way. Right? He was not supposed to be a father figure to the kids. If anything, he was Uncle Tyler that would come over here and there. And that's what I was kind of wondering when I saw the Christmas pictures and stuff. I was like, is it just they want him to have a relationship with these kids because he is their biological father? Like, what is going on? He wasn't supposed to be doing all that. He was not supposed to be that involved. Okay? So, baby mama and her wife separate. And the now ex-wife, now that all of this has come out, believes that Tyler and the baby mama started an a relationship from which she would conceive 2 more kids, a set of twins. The baby mama's ex-wife now believes that those kids were not conceived in the way that she thought they were, i.e. through like a cup turkey baster type thing, but were conceived naturally. She believes that Tyler and the baby mama was after the baby mama and wife got divorced, he would go to court and snatch the ex-wife's parental rights from those children, even though her name was on the birth certificate of at least the first one. I don't know about the twins. To corroborate the kids being born or conceived naturally, the baby mama's mother also said that she believed that the twins were conceived by accident while he was living with her. So, follow me. If all of this is correct, again, allegedly, this was them kids' daddy in name, in law, that he fought for custody rights for or parental rights for in the courts. He was an active father. He was there on holidays. He was them kids' daddy. He also allegedly owes $30,000 in child support to those kids and disappeared in 2023 or so when he started taping Love is Blind. And they hadn't seen him for the last year or so, as I understand it. So no, he wasn't just helping out a couple, helping out some friends have a baby. You know, I was not involved in the raising of those kids or anything. No, that boo-boo bye, that liar. And that's nasty work. I mean, we've had some liars on this show. Luckily, I never felt one way or another about Tyler, but I was like, what the fuck? Y'all are psychopaths. Men are not okay. What is wrong with y'all? Oh, also, I forgot about this part because in the grand scheme of things, this is probably low bar, but there's also allegedly someone who was saying that Tyler was trying to hook up with them, one of his ex-girlfriends or something, while he was still engaged to Ashley when they were living together during the taping of the show. All of this is alleged, but I would not be surprised. He's insane. He lied about the existence of 3 kids. You think he ain't gonna lie about trying to cheat on you? Oh, Drake looking ass. I assume, I don't know, but I assume that Ashley is finding out the breadth of this information, probably with all of us right now. I don't know if she's married him during the show. If she has, I hope she's divorcing him. I hope they are not together anymore. I hope she's gonna act like none of this happened, which is gonna be very difficult to do. All jokes aside, a that can lie like this to your face over and over again is fucking dangerous. He's dangerous. No. For your well-being, for your mental health, for your physical health, your sexual health, get away from that. Don't let him stress you like that. No marriage is worth keeping. If this is where it's starting and if this is where it's going, baby, you were too cute. You were too valuable. You were too loved to be in a relationship with ain't shit like this. Amen. Whew. God, this is so ghetto. But yeah, that's all for today, folks. I've been over here bitching for a long time. The sun done set. If you like this video, I'll pop back. I'm sure there's some more shit. New episodes coming out this Wednesday. I don't know when this video is going up, but I'll see y'all next time. Follow me on my social media. Leave your comments, what you know, what tea you know. If you just find out this tea with me, I'm sorry, girl. Oh, and I will see you next time. Bye. Ooh, my hair a mess. Ooh, Jesus.